Hey everyone, it's Adam. I'm back with another video right off the heels of WWDC, and I bought an M1 iPad Pro. Now I did this because the new features in iOS 16 require an M1 Pro, such as Stage Manager, which lets you run applications, multiple applications at the same time on iPadOS. So I just got this. Let's go install iOS 16 on it right now. So brand new, never been used. I'm going to open this up and let's see how this works. So this looks very similar to my 2018 iPad Pro, which had the A12 processor, I think. And let's turn it on. Such a nice screen with no fingerprints on it. It has the dual cameras with the LiDAR sensor. So I'm turning it on right now. And it's not turning on. Oh, there it goes. And as you can see in the back here, you may be wondering, what is this green thing in the back? That is an eMate, an Apple eMate, the Newton eMate. It was designed for the education market around 1996, 97. And it's green. Battery life on this iPad is at 18%. This is actually the 2 terabyte iPad. Very expensive, but that was the only one they had in stock. So let's install this. Should I do a quick start or set up manually? Let's see. Setting up manually may be faster. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, let's actually bring this up on the screen. Let's actually unplug this guy and plug this in here. Let's see what happens. So I'm going to log into my Wi-Fi network real quick so you can't see. Okay. Now let's actually switch over to SuperSource into this one, I think. That one, and bring this guy on air. Okay, here we go. So we have the iPad, and there we go in landscape. So I will set up Face ID later. Now you see I have to set up a passcode, so hopefully you can't see what I'm typing. Good. And if you did, I'd cut this out of the video. Let's not transfer apps and data at the moment. And let's see. Oh God, I have to enter this thing. Well, I'm going to switch back to me so you can't see what is happening here. So let's go back to me. Okay, I'm going to enter my Apple ID here. And I have to authenticate with iCloud, sign in a new device. I'm going to enter that code. This doesn't have passkey yet, the passwordless credentials that they introduced in iOS 16. Agree to the terms and conditions. Okay, let's go back. All right. May take a few minutes to set up my Apple ID. And I've already installed Xcode 14 beta on my computer. So that means I will be able to install MixEffect on this. Of course, I need to install the profile onto the iPad. So let's do that as well once I get set up here. How did everyone else think about the new announcements at WWDC? Please leave your comments down below. I'll set up Apple Pay later. We'll set up Siri later, set up later. We'll share with the app developers. Sure. Welcome to iPad. All right, here we go. So we're going to go log into developer and download that profile. Developer.apple.com. Under develop, downloads. Probably have me log in. So I'm going to go back to me right here while I type in this stuff. There we go. enter that code again. All right. So here we are. iPadOS 16 beta. Install the profile. Download that configuration. Review the profile in the settings app if you want to install it. So let's do that. Settings. Profile downloaded. Install. Enter that passcode. There we go. Agree to the agreements. Install. Restart required. Restart. Right. So while that works, what other features were kind of notable from the WWDC event? So I'm really excited about the screen manager feature of macOS and iPadOS. I think it's going to be a fantastic addition to the product. Again, bringing multitasking over to iPadOS, windowing multitasking to iPadOS, and also kind of an attempt to tame the clutter of window management on macOS. I admit I have a lot of windows open, and possibly this screen manager feature might work. I'm sure they'll probably be tweaking it in the future iterations of macOS. Was a little surprised at the name macOS Ventura as opposed to the rumored macOS Mammoth, but I'm okay. Maybe if they choose somewhere closer to San Diego, I'd like that better because I grew up in San Diego. All right, so my thing is still downloading the profile and it looks like it is running. So let's come back to the iPad over here. Let's go back to this. All right, so let's log in, enter that password. And I don't see the iPad coming up, but let's plug this guy back in and hopefully he will return. There he is. There you are. So let's see. What am I running? Am I running iOS 16? iOS 14. That's not it. Why is it running iOS 14? Okay. Profile. Software update. Download, install. Enter that password. It may take a while. Agree to the terms. I'm going to be appearing on office hours in just a few hours. So hopefully this will be finished in time for that. You can go watch that at https://officehours.global. I'm going to be joined by Renee Ritchie, iJustine, Alex Lindsay, and the developer of AudioKit, Ori. So tune into that. And if you see this video after that, you can always watch the replay. So it says it's downloading, about 2 minutes remaining. That sounds a little fast, but we will see. And soon I'll have iOS 16 on this device. Then we're going to install MixEffect and see what happens. In fact, let's see if I can install MixEffect right now. So I think I need to enroll this device into my developer account. So let's see what I have to do there. Go to Organizer, Devices and Simulators. I do see an iPad, but it's not this iPad. Let's see. I may have to do something else, but let's just see once iPadOS 16 gets installed. So other features that look interesting, the lock screen improvements. I'm looking forward to customizing my lock screen. I will admit I don't do too much customization right now. I just have a basic, the stock Apple background there, but I'm looking forward to adding more things like widgets and different clock faces and maybe different wallpapers that change depending on what focus mode that I am on. Let's see, there's no interactive widgets, it seems, this year. Maybe that will come next year. But we do have widgets that can update in real time, at least more near real time than they could with the 15-minute delay that WidgetKit imposed on widgets the past few years. Let's see, what else is there? Undo sending and messages. Maybe I might use that. The dictation, I might use that a little bit more. Kind of interesting to see how the editing with dictation works because sometimes the dictation doesn't get what I say correct. Live text, definitely a feature that I'm looking forward to using. I've already used it quite a bit with photos. Visual lookup, maybe, I don't know, maybe cutting out images from images I send and then dropping them into other messages might be useful. Apple Wallet, we'll see about that. I don't really use Apple Wallet aside from Apple Pay that much, and sometimes the occasional kind of like ticket that I get from Eventbrite. Maps, I do use Apple Maps. I'm not a Google Maps user, and I think it's gotten a lot better over the years. I do like the turn-by-turn directions and how it looks. I live in the Bay Area, so definitely the Apple Maps experience is definitely much better if you live in one of the areas that has the improved experience. Live sports in news and live activities, maybe, I don't know. I love sports, but I'm not so rabid that I need to follow it like on my lock screen like every second. Family sharing. I am very interested in the iCloud shared photo library. It does seem a little weird that you have kind of like two libraries and you have to kind of like think about where some photos go and where some photos don't go. They do have some options for doing automatic sharing of videos. Like if you're at a particular location, you can turn on the you can assign all your photos to go into the shared library, but what if you forget to turn it off and then suddenly you have kind of like more private or personal images in the shared library? Do you need to move them back? So I could definitely see some management problems in the future, but I definitely think this is a feature that's a long time coming if you have a family and you want to share photos without going through their old kind of shared albums system. Privacy, the personal safety stuff, definitely interesting. If you are in a relationship and the relationship goes bad and you want to kind of like lock that person out, hopefully that won't be happening to me. HomeKit stuff. I have a bunch of accessories in my house. I have all my lights controlled by HomeKit, as well as a few other little accessories like motion sensors, things like that. I don't have like electric blinds or garage door opener and things like that. So I'm just looking for a better home app experience. I currently use the Hue app from Philips to control my lights, but my wife uses the HomeKit app to do that. And I've always found the HomeKit app to be just really hard to use. Just getting in and out of rooms and stuff, very, very difficult. So I'm looking forward to using that one. And as we can see, the iPad is still preparing to update. So I'll keep talking. CarPlay. 98% of cars in the US have CarPlay. Apparently not my car. So maybe when we buy a new car, we'll have CarPlay. 79% of US buyers will only consider cars with CarPlay, and especially if it has that new CarPlay interface. That thing looked amazing. Is that what Apple is going to be doing to bring, to basically replace the Apple car? They're basically going to become the brains of the car as opposed to building their own car. That certainly seems to be the direction that they're heading into. Spatial audio with AirPods. I haven't really used that too much, but I'm definitely keen on trying that out. Quick note to iOS. Maybe. I'd rather have the Apple Pencil come to iOS than Quick Note, but hey, might as well bring all the features that exist on iPadOS and macOS over to iOS. And more Memoji customizations. What I'd really like from Apple is for them to open up the Memoji framework so we can use them in our own apps. I definitely have some ideas on how we can incorporate Memojis into an app like MixEffect or maybe another app. Apple Watch. I'm currently using an Apple Watch Series 4, so I'm definitely due for an upgrade at some point. So, once that happens, I'll be on WatchOS 9, and I'll be enjoying all those new clock faces and those new complications and whatnot. I am very interested, though, in the updates to the running app or the activity workout app with the new running metrics. So I run a lot, and I'm definitely very interested in my vertical oscillation, the stride length, and the ground contact time, because I think biomechanically, I think my feet are a little different than most people. And so I want to improve that as much as I can. I don't use the sleep app that much. Heart health hopefully is okay, knock on wood. And medications, I don't use them personally, but I know a lot of people do, and I think this would be very useful. I also see a lot of these apps as kind of like Sherlocking other apps on the App Store. Apple definitely takes a look at areas that competitors are in, and they come up with a solution that they build into their thing, and then the apps get Sherlocked. I'm sure some of them will come out with features that don't exist in Apple. Apple tends to kind of create a product that works for 80% of the people, and some of these kind of third-party apps have features that reach the remaining 20%. But we'll see. macOS, they introduced the M2 processor. Very interesting. I'm looking forward to what they're coming out with the Mac Pro. I'm currently using an M1 Mac Mini. I'm very happy with it. But if I had to go on an assignment, what would I use? Would I use an MacBook Air, an M2? I don't think I'd get that Touch Bar MacBook Pro 13-inch. I do not like the Touch Bar. Maybe a 14-inch MacBook Pro. The 16-inch might be a little bit too big, but an Air or a 14-inch MacBook Pro, I think I'd probably go for that. Let's see, what else is here? I really like the fanless design. I really hate fans in computers. I like to have my office very quiet. Have a few things with some fans. Sometimes they're off, which is really good. Sometimes they're on, which I can hear, and I'm kind of annoyed by that. macOS Ventura. I already mentioned the name. People thought it was going to be Mammoth, but it turned out to be Ventura. The window management, looking forward to Stage Manager, as I said before. Spotlight, certainly I would use it more often if it was faster. Sometimes I do Spotlight, type in a few characters, and I have to wait 10 seconds for something to appear. So if it's faster, I might use it a lot more. Mail. Now, I write a mail plugin and application that's on the Mac App Store called Message Filer. It helps you file messages very quickly from the keyboard. Haven't taken a look at macOS Mail in Ventura, but I want to see if they've added Sherlocked Message Filer and added keyboard filing. If they didn't, I have another year that Message Filer will exist because apparently plugins do continue to work in macOS Ventura. Apple has stated that they are deprecating the unofficial Mail plugin API in favor of their new MailKit framework. But the MailKit framework doesn't have the features that I need to port Message Filer over to MailKit. And Mail plugin developers have been waiting every year around WWDC time to see whether or not plugins will be removed. But it looks like we have a reprieve for another year. So expect an update to Message Filer for those people who are using Message Filer on macOS. You have another year of Message Filer support. Let's see. Safari. I use Safari as my main browser. I use Chrome for other purposes, but I personally like Safari. So any improvements they have to Safari, I'm all for it. Not much of a gamer on the Mac. We'll see. Continuity camera, very exciting. I personally use a Canon 5D Mark IV that's plugged into my A10 Mini Extreme down right here in my rack, and I have that plugged into my Mac Mini. But I can definitely see cases where using the iPhone camera would be much better, especially, man, that thing where they had the dedicated overhead camera using the ultra wide camera. Very exciting. Now, I hope it works on older iPhones. This is an iPhone 11 because I wouldn't want to have my primary camera or my primary phone, which might be an iPhone 14 in the fall, to be used as a camera. And then a phone comes in, I have to take it off. So if I can repurpose an old camera running iOS 16 with continuity camera, that would be great. I might use that as a secondary camera. The Belkin stand for your displays is very interesting. I think Craig Federighi demoed something that he had that he kind of attached to his laptop. Don't think Apple's selling that. I don't know if that's a Belkin thing, but definitely interesting. Oh, looks like we have the install now running. So let's go do that. Let's verify the update and install iOS 16 onto this iPad. So let's see, what else is there? The next thing that they talked about was iPadOS 16. And what they said was they wanted to create a distinct experience built on the best of iOS with capabilities from macOS like multitasking, trackpad support, and uniquely iPad experiences like the Apple Pencil. So they brought things like Weather app to the iPadOS. Still waiting on the Calculator app, but James Thompson from pCalc, you have another year where no one's going to be buying anything but your app. Collaboration was a big topic at WWDC this year. So the ability to do a share play with FaceTime and collaborate on documents or do it from messages. Very interesting thing to see what happens. I personally have not really used the collaborate features aside from sharing notes and reminders, but I'm keen to start using that in the future. Freeform looks very interesting. Looks very similar to the whiteboard app at my company that I work for. I work for Zoom. Opinions my own on this stream or this video. But definitely whiteboard seems like a very interesting thing. It looks like a free-form notepad that everyone can contribute to. Definitely interesting. Let's see. iPad is still restarting, as we can see right here. So we'll wait for that to come back. I'll go back to my screen up here. Let's come back to that Stage Manager. So it looks like there's a little control in the bottom right corner where you can resize windows. So I'm very interested to see how MixEffect handles the resize. And hopefully, if we have time, we will see what happens very shortly once this thing boots up. You can move the cursor to an external display. Now, I have a Apple Pro Display XDR right here. I'm plugged into my Mac Mini. And I'm actually keen to see what happens if I plug in the M1 iPad Pro into it and use it for multi-windows. I use Mac a lot, but there are times when I actually prefer to use iPadOS. So definitely interesting to see what happens there. Having 8 apps running simultaneously, but are they all running simultaneously and the ones that aren't visible running in the background? We will see. So I know that iPadOS, iOS, they are very... let's see, they terminate or suspend applications very quickly when they go to the background. So my concern is that if I'm running MixEffect in a Stage Manager view, so I have a couple applications open, is when it's like not the frontmost window, does it stay active? Does it keep its connection? And if I take it to Stage Manager on the left-hand side, is it still running or is it suspended? If I come back to it, does it basically wake up from the background? And then MixEffect basically has to reconnect to the ATEM because the ATEM and MixEffect have a constant connection. They're constantly sending back, I'm here. Yes, I hear you. Packets back and forth to each other. And once those packets stop, the ATEM basically drops the connection and then MixEffect needs to reconnect. So definitely this is the reason why I picked up the M1 iPad Pro today, is to see what happens and to get a head start on porting or actually making iPad OS 16 work properly with MixEffect. Let's see. So iPad is still booting up. I can keep talking here, or we can just wait and I'll just fast forward to when it actually comes up. Let's see. So again, if you are watching this video, leave your comments down below on what you think were the best features of iPadOS, iOS, macOS, and watchOS, the features that you will find most useful in your life. Or maybe you didn't find anything useful from what Apple announced. Maybe you're looking forward to the Mac Pro announcement, which they still have not done yet. We'll have an M1 Ultra. We'll have an M2 Ultra. You know, we'll have something else. Who knows? We will see in a few months' time. And they also didn't announce the M2 iPad Pro. So, you know, I just bought the M1 iPad Pro, which was released last year. And it's definitely due for an upgrade. So who knows what will happen in the fall. Will they release an M2 iPad Pro and will I get one? M1 iPad Pro seems to be pretty powerful. And will they keep it on the market just like they have the MacBook Air running the M1 and they also have the M2 MacBook Air? Are you going to upgrade? So were you interested in any of these new hardware releases? If you have a MacBook Air, you're going to get an M2 MacBook Air. I think it's great in advance of the college semesters, or actually colleges are over. So they're definitely ready for the back to college market in a few months. MacBook Airs are probably going to sell very, very quickly. All right, it is rebooting. So hopefully iOS 16 will be up here very shortly. Now I do need to go into my developer account and I provision this device. So let's go do that. I'm going to log into my account. You won't see this because I'm doing it on my computer here. Right, so accounts, let's see. Profiles, devices. Before adding a device, make sure your device list is updated for the new membership year. You have the option to remove devices from your list. Okay, I don't have to worry about that. Update your device list. That looks fine. Okay, so let's go back and add a new device here. Confirm your devices and reset. Confirm the devices you have selected. You select the following device, blah, 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 blah. I acknowledge. Okay, why do I have to click reset? Account will update once you complete the reset process. Okay, that's fine. All right, complete. Now, go back. Now I can click plus on this. Platform, all those things. Device name, I'm going to call this one the M1 iPad Pro. And I need to get the device ID, which I will get once the iPad comes back to life. So let's actually bring that guy back up like that and wait for him to return to life. One other thing that I will like to announce, I'll probably have a separate video to explain this, but I launched my MixEffect Labs membership program yesterday. I did it as a sort of a soft launch because I knew that I'd be very busy with WWDC work and covering that and talking about that. So I wanted to soft launch that. It's a membership program for people who use MixEffect and for the greater video community. It consists of a blog at labs.mixeffect.app, a private Discord server for MixEffect, and a MixEffect University, a place where you're going to be able to learn all about MixEffect, taking courses, quizzes, and lessons. All right, so this thing is up, and let's go log in, and let's make sure that this USB cable is plugged in so you can actually see the screen right here. Here we go, and there it is, iPadOS 16. All right, let's go get that device identifier, and actually, let's actually not do it on the video. So I'm going to go switch to you here, and I'm going to get it from here. So let's find that device ID. And where is the device ID? Let's find it. Let's see, is it the serial number? I have no idea where this is. Let's see, how to find the UDID for an iPad. Search this up. Okay. Lots of ads on this webpage. I don't want to go to that website. That doesn't sound good. Let's see. Let's find it on an Apple website, an Apple page. Let's see. Connect your device to a computer using a USB cable. Open up iTunes. Click the device icon. Okay, how would we do that? iTunes doesn't exist on macOS Monterey, but I can plug this guy in. So let me go do this. Find a cable, USB cable here. Plug this guy right there. All right, trust this computer, yes. Enter my passcode. And I see Adam's iPad. I'm going to rename this to the M1 iPad Pro. All right. Okay. So M1 iPad Pro, and there is the identifier right there. So I'm going to copy that and paste it into my developer thing. That. And say continue. Register. Done. All right. So it is registered, and let's go see if we can build MixEffect for this guy. It has an unsupported OS version. Why is that? I'm running the latest Xcode, right? Oh, this is running the old Xcode, so let's quit that. And let's run the Xcode beta that I have downloaded here. All right. Okay, so you can see this. Select the platforms I'd like to install. Sure, we'll just do this for right now. Installing components. Let's bring this up onto the Mac like that. So right here you see me. This is an upstream keyer that's running in MixEffect. And if you look at MixEffect, I can like move my upstream keyboard all the way around. So let's actually just dock it up there. That's a nice place to put it. All right, the components have been installed. Let's see. Where is Xcode? Xcode, where are you? Go back to my camera here. What is Xcode doing? Xcode looks like it crashed. That's not good. Let's try to relaunch that, see what happens. Welcome to Xcode. All right, so let's go open up this guy. And we will watch it build. Move it there so you can see it. And let's go run this on developer mode disabled. Why is that? So many things to do just to get this up and running. Okay, what's that say? The iPad does not have developer mode enabled. Okay, what do I have to do? Enable in settings and privacy before continuing. Okay. So let's go that. Settings and privacy. Developer modes. Let's actually go to the super source over here. Do this. Let's actually turn on developer mode. I have to restart the device. Okay, well, restart the device and wait for this to happen. So clearly a lot of steps just to get a new device registered with Apple to use for development. Would have helped if I had an iPad Pro before, then I would have just had to install iOS 16 on it and do that. But I actually want to keep 2 devices running so I can have iOS 15 to deal with kind of like late breaking bugs in the current release of MixEffect while I have a separate branch for iOS 16. Okay, so here we go. Enter that passcode real quick. And developer mode is on, and let's see if it shows up here. iPad Pro has recently restarted. Okay. Wait for that to finish. And let's just try to build it, see what happens. Turn on developer mode, yes. Okay, another passcode. Okay, so it's building right now. While it does that, I'm going to plug in this guy here. And I'm going to go back to the iPad so you can see what's happening over here. So this is my iPad Pro that's currently running a pre-release version of MixEffect. And as you can see right here, I actually have the multi-view displayed in the app. Let's bring that up. Disconnect and reconnect. So it's a panel that has the multi-view, or actually any input, output from the ATEM being displayed here. So you can see me waving hello like that, and you can see the iPad. So if I did an auto transition, it'll come back to me like that. But then you can see this. If I change like the inputs, you can see it changing like this. So the remote web view was always a feature of MixEffect, but it was actually operated as a floating panel that you can move around anywhere you want on the screen. But now I have it so that you can actually have it as a switcher panel right here. So you can have it embedded into your switcher. So you can actually see it right there, and it's just like working like this. It's actually pretty cool. So if you use the remote web view feature, you can actually see and do everything from the iPad. You don't actually have to have a multi-view monitor hooked up to your computer. All right, so let's take a look at what Mac is doing right now. I'm going to go auto here, and let's see. It's installing to the iPad mini. I don't want to do that. I want to install it to the... I don't want to do that. I want to install it to the M1 iPad Pro. So let's restart. Let's build that guy. Take a look at how long this video is lasting. This is a 34-minute video. You probably want to run this at 2 times speed. Installing to the M1 Pro. Oh, great. So once it's installed here, I'm going to switch over the screen over to this iPad Pro from the original 2018 iPad Pro. So it's running MixEffect. I see it. All right. I'm going to unplug this. I'm going to replug this guy in here. Right. And I'm going to switch back to me. So we have MixEffect running on here, and it is also plugged into the HDMI. So let's actually do our little super source real quick. All right, and let's bring this guy on air. All right, here we go. MixEffect Pro running. Take the tour. We can close that. We've already taken the tour. And since it's logged into my iCloud account, it's downloading all the switcher information, SuperSource information, and the streaming services. So let's wait for that to finish doing its sync. And while we're doing that, actually, let's do this multitasking thing. I don't even know how to bring in the multitasking view. What do? You tap this and you do that. How do you do this? How do you do this stage view thing? Not that. Okay, well, let's connect to the ATEM, and it just crashed. That's not a good sign. Well, looks like I have some work to do to get iOS 16 working with MixEffect Pro. So, word of advice for anyone who's using MixEffect: don't install the iOS 16 beta if you're using MixEffect in a real production. Definitely don't want something like that to happen. I'll have to connect to the debugger and see what's exactly happening. But anyways, I have iOS 16 running on this M1 iPad Pro that I just bought. And I hope you've enjoyed this video. I certainly didn't enjoy the ending of it, but I'll get this working in no time. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.